testimony. You are the kindest person I ever met in my life. In your hiddenness, when you manifest, when you're all in all, when you're all I have, in the ebb and flow as we undulate, you'll never leave, you'll never forsake me. There's nothing I can bring. These empty hands I raise to worship you, my King, with a heart full of praise. This is my testimony. You are the kindest person I ever met in my life. When I wake, when I sleep, when I laugh and when I weep, storms rage, friends falter, you stay the same. There's nothing I can bring. These empty hands I raise to worship you, my King, with a heart full of praise. This is my testimony. You are the kindest person I ever met in my life.
Thank you very much. I had joined my first band when I was 13 years old, and by the time I was 15, I was making more money than my mom. I had an amazing mother. She worked 2 jobs to put my brother and myself to school. In the daytime, my mom would work for a doctor as his receptionist. She'd come home in the evenings and she'd have supper with us, and then she'd go out again. She'd go selling clothing door to door to put my brother and myself to school. Thank God for moms. Now, when I joined the music industry at the age of 16, I lived this life of absolute decadence until God got a hold of me at the age of 30 and I surrendered my life to Christ. Now, when I got saved, I was what some people would call a religious zealot. I was one of those people that just wanted everybody to come to know Jesus. And so I was in everybody's face. And the first victim of my zeal was my mom. And I can remember I drove up to Mom. She lived up in Saldanha Bay, and I drove up there to share the gospel with her. And I said this to her, I said, Mom, I've got good news for you and I've got bad news for you. And she said, what's that, my boy? I said, well, Mom, the good news is I've got saved, I'm going to heaven. And the bad news is you're not, you're going to hell. But I've learned over the years, I don't think God is remotely interested in how clever we are. I think God is far more interested in our faithfulness and our obedience. And my mom, she saw through my stupidity, and God touched her in any way. And she gave her life to Christ right there and then, and served God for the rest of her days. The next victim of my zeal was a friend of mine who fixed up buildings on the inside. And so I wanted to share my faith with him. And he's a big guy, so I thought maybe that approach wouldn't work with him. And so I thought I'd write a song for him to let him know what God had done for me on the inside, a song called Interior Decorator.
Interior decorator, oh, what a perfect creator. I know I'm not much on the outside. Inside I'm a brand new man. I got mighty recreated spirit. This old body got life within it. I know I'm not much on the outside. Inside I'm a brand new man who knows but doesn't quite understand. What's going on can't stop it. I'm falling in love. You say he's a little bit crazy. You say what you like, nothing can faze me. I know that I know that I know you'll never change my mind. And I don't claim to understand it. Interior decorated, planned it. I know I'm not much on the outside. Inside I'm a brand new man who knows and doesn't quite understand. What's going on can't stop it. I'm falling in love. What's going on can't stop it. I'm falling in love. What's going on can't stop it. I'm falling in love.
Thanks. So there I was, this 30-year-old regenerated hippie. And I'd never done what people call an honest day's work in my life. All I could do was sing and write songs. And so I didn't know God could provide for me or my family. I thought maybe God would take me from being a successful secular musician and make me a successful Christian one. Well, for the next 19 years, I never sang in public. During that time, God was getting me ready for this time. But I continued writing songs, just journaling my life. And so most of the songs that you'll hear tonight I wrote during that 19-year period, or a lot of them. But they were never performed in public because I was just journaling my life that way. But I did continue in the music industry in this way. I started being commissioned to write songs for television commercials and for movies. And so we're going to have a commercial break now. And I'm going to play you one of the commercials I did. You play the first one, please.
Days of my life, I recall the faces, mostly yours. Magic moments, life was a mystery. There's no place on earth that we'd rather be. Moving up, going through some changes, storing up the memories. Then you gave me the light of my life. I always gave the best I could give.
Thanks so much. That has an interesting story attached to it. That was the first of many television commercials that I sang and wrote. But the ad agency, they'd wanted to use a Beatles song for that commercial. And so they negotiated with the Beatles publishers to see if they could use one of their songs. And after much negotiation, they found out they couldn't afford the Beatles, so they came to me. Isn't God good? I have a fantastic family. God has blessed me. I have a wonderful wife. I have 4 children, 3 grandchildren. And you're going to hear about most of them this morning. The song I'm going to sing for you is a song I wrote for my daughter. It's a song called You and Me. She's a lot like me.
When I look at your life, it's like deja vu. There's a little bit of you in me, me and you. You got me, I got you. Evening and morning make a day. The sun comes up somewhere, it fades away. All depends upon your point of view. When I look at your life, it's like deja vu. There's a little bit of you in me, me and you. You got me, I got you. You only need to whisper. You only need to drop a hint. You only need to look my way for me to know what you're thinking. That's the way it is between me and you. You got me, I got you. You and me, we're made the same. We got things to lose, we got things to gain. We see from different points of view. When I look at your life, it's like deja vu. There's a little bit of you in me, me and you. You got me, I got you.
Thanks so much. When my oldest son was born, I had no understanding of a father's love for a child. Our fathers are meant to teach us how to be dads. My father left home when my mom was pregnant with me. And so I never got to know my father. Now, when my son was born, it was 3 years before I became a Christian, and it was a time in my life that I believe that God started revealing himself to me as my father. Now, my dad lived in Natal, and I lived in the Cape, and it was always my intention one day to look him up and try and make contact with him. And so I toured around the country promoting my music, and every year I'd go to the town where he lived. It was all my intention one day to meet him, start a relationship with him. This went on for a number of years. One day I got the call to tell me my father was dead, and so I had to go bury him. And so I went up to Natal to go attend the funeral. And when I was there, I met some relatives I never knew I met before. And so I asked my uncle I'd met there, I asked if I could see my father's body. I wanted to see what he looked like. I'd never seen any pictures of him. I knew nothing about him. And so my uncle told me that my dad had drunk himself to death and that he looked awful. And so I never got to see my father. My dad was a school teacher. He was a substitute relief teacher. So he'd go from one school to the next when they had need of him. And because of this, he never lived in a house. He lived in a hotel room. And so I went to my dad's hotel room to go and look through his belongings to see if there's anything I could take home to show my family something of my dad's life. While I was looking through his stuff, I found a whole bunch of newspaper cuttings about myself. And there were letters from my school. My father had obviously written to my school to find out what I was doing, and they'd responded. And so it turns out that my dad had followed my whole life, and we never met. And so when my oldest son was born, I wrote this next song for him as a promise to him that I'd never do that to him.
I've got stars in my eyes. I've got so much love I can't disguise how I feel, what I do. Everything revolves around you, and your love set me free. Now I know how it feels to be alive. You got me on your side. You've got someone to confide in. I would never let you down. I will always be around, and your love let me go. Now I know how it feels to be alive. All the games that I used to play seem so far away. I was half, now I know I'm whole. You fill my heart, you fill my soul. I've got stars in my eyes. I've got so much love I can't disguise how I feel, what I do. Everything revolves around you, and your love set me free. Now I know how it feels to be alive.
Thanks. Can you play the next video clip, please?
I got stars in my eyes. I got so much love I can't disguise how I feel, what I do. Everything revolves around you. Now I know how it feels to be alive.
At Nedbank, we treat all our clients, no matter how old they are, exactly the same. The reason for this is quite simple. We never know who they might become. Nedbank. Because if you're over 18, you'll want a bank, not a youth club.
Isn't that true? We never know what our children might become. My oldest son, who I wrote that song for, is a very gifted young man. He's one of those people everybody loves, everybody's friend. You all know somebody like him. He's a great sportsman. When he's 13, he's playing provincial golf. When he's 19, he's playing provincial rugby. Now, because of my son's sporting abilities, he got a scholarship to go to a very exclusive private school. And at school, as a young Christian man, my son thought he could do anything he liked with his life. They started experimenting with drugs. By the time my son was 21 years old, he was a crack cocaine addict. And he had a habit that was costing him a huge amount of money. He stole most of what we had to support his habit. We had drug dealers phoning our house, threatening to kill him if we wouldn't pay them the monies he owed them, and so we paid them. At one time, I was out of town. My wife and my daughter had to go to a crack house to go fetch my daughter's cell phone, which he'd sold to them. This is how we lived. It was during this time, I believe, we learned the most about our God. We learned the difference between Christian cliches and Christian reality. And we began to understand what the peace of God is that transcends all understanding. Towards the end of this episode, my son had been this happy-go-lucky young man with everything going for him. He would sit in the public toilet in Sea Point all night long smoking crack cocaine. Now, the nature of this drug is one of three things happen to you. You either run out of money, and the worst thing can happen is you overdose and you die. And so every night my son would go out. We'd never know if this would be the last time we'd ever see him. One evening, the strain of this became too much for my wife and myself. And so I took my son to a place called the Ark, which is a ministry for homeless people in Cape Town. I thought perhaps I could help my son there. I can remember the two of us were sitting outside in the street. It was pitch dark. I was about to drop him off there and just leave him there and wash my hands of him. And then God reminded me of the words in the song that I wrote for him when he was born, that I'd never let him down. And so I turned the car around and I took my boy home. A short while after, God rescued him. He's once again faithfully serving God, and he's the father of my 3 grandchildren. God is faithful. This song I'm going to sing for you is a song that I wrote while the storm was raging in the life of my family. It's a song called Get Over It. I was feeling really sorry for myself while I was writing the song. It has images of holes everywhere. There's a hole in my soul, and a hole in the roof, and a hole in the floor, just holes everywhere. And then God showed me a great thing.
I'll get over it. It's just a matter of time. To err is human, to forgive is divine. There's a hole in my soul, needs some fixing. There's a song in my head, needs remixing. There's a hole in the roof where the rain comes in. There's a crack in the floor, I keep falling in, but I'll get over it. It's just a matter of time. To err is human, to forgive is divine. There's a dent in my pride, took a beating, we were on the same side. You were cheating, you were sleeping with dogs, picking up fleas, taking what you want. You never said please, but I'll get over it. It's just a matter of time. To err is human, to forgive is divine. There's a hole in the dark where the light comes through. There's a hole in my shoe from following you. You got holes in your hands, holes in your feet, wounds on your back where they beat. There is blood on the tree where you were ashamed for the crime of the world. You were blamed, and I'll never get over it. It's a mystery for all time. To err is human, to forgive is divine. Get over it. It's just a matter of time. To err is human, to forgive is divine.
was being interviewed on the radio some years back. It was a secular radio station, and the guy was trying to get clever with me and make me look stupid. So he said to me, "Can you prove to me that God exists?" So I said, "Yes, my wife, she's living proof that God exists." And my wife knew me before God got a hold of me, so the first few years of our relationship was a nightmare for her. We've been on honeymoon now for 40-odd years. Yeah, God changes things, eh? It was that song I wrote called Living Proof.
I got a crush on you, babe. I start to gush when I speak your name. They told me the stuff wears out, so how come I still feel the same? From the day I set eyes on you, there were never doubts. I always knew this is how it would be. I got you and you got me. You're living proof that God exists. How much you must love me. I can move a mountain. I can walk on the sea. You bring out the best in me. Infatuation, I don't think so anymore. We've been around the block a few times. Looks like we're going around some more. Knowing everything you knew, you still chose to see it through. You put your trust in me, and you saw all that I could be. You're living proof that God exists. How much you must love me. I can move a mountain, and I can walk on the sea. You bring out the best in me. I believe in you and me. I believe in the family. I believe nothing happens by chance. I believe in this romance. You're living proof that God exists. How much you must love me. I can move a mountain. I can walk on the sea. You bring out the best in me.
My youngest son, his name is Daniel. He's a really sweet young man. And he came to me one day when he was about, I remember correctly, he was about 13 years old. He came to me one day, he was very upset with me and cross with me that I hadn't written a song for him yet. And so I wrote this next song for him. I can remember calling him into my room to play the song for him. And he sat at the foot of my bed and started singing the song. We got as far as the first chorus and we both started crying. And so he said to me, "Dad," he said, "please take that song off the CD." He was very concerned what his friends were going to do to him. And they heard his father singing him this love song. And so I told him that I'd take the song off the CD. But now a short while after that, one Sunday morning, I was singing in our local church. And my son was there with his 3 girlfriends. And he came to me and said, "Dad," he said, if you play that song, I'll kill you." Well, I played it anyway. And fortunately for me, 3 girlfriends, they went up to him after the meeting and they said, "You must be an amazing person." for your dad to speak of you this way. And she came back to me and said I could put the song back on the CD. Isn't that stupid? Anyway, it's a song called Daniel. You may not understand the things I do, know this one thing. What I do for you. I have no other motive. My heart is pure in an ever-changing world. Know this one thing for sure. Daniel, you are in my eyes the gift of God, the prize, my heavenly reward. Here on earth, you'll never know, my little friend, what you are worth. When I come home sometime, I find you asleep. I sit by your side and ask my God to keep you safe from harm, make you strong in an ever-changing world. Always somewhere you belong. Daniel, you are in my eyes a gift of God, the prize, my heavenly reward. Here on earth, you'll never know, my little friend, what you are worth. Just recently, I went from deity to knowing nothing at all. No more hugs, only handshakes. My biggest fan just became a man. Daniel, you are in my eyes the gift of God, the prize, my heavenly reward. Here on earth, you'll never know, my little friend, know, my little friend, what you are worth. I'm running out of songs to sing. Who would like a free CD with all these songs I just did? Yeah, you want one? You can get one. Anybody else want one? Yeah, that third row lady. Yeah. Anybody else want it? You can buy them in the back. Those are for free. You can enjoy them. Actually, I got one more song, but I wrote a song for my grandchildren recently. I've never played it before. Would you like to hear it? Okay. I'll play it to you. Oh, their names are Liam, Juliet, and Nina. Look at you now, how you've grown, how the winds have changed, have blown. Your long ago is my yesterday. How the time slips away. Liam carries my guitar. Juliet dances with the stars. Along comes Nina, precious late lamb. They'll love me just the way I am. I love you now even more than I did then. Grandbaby is now my little friend. Indiscretion shook off with a shrug. Forgiveness wrapped up in a hug. Bright colors turn a little gray. I don't remember the things I'm
trying to say. I look at the world through your eyes, tell my stories in lullabies. Won't be long now for you're all grown up. These moments are few and far between. We make excuses to make a little time, make hay while the sun still shines. We love you now and we always will. Come visit Nana up on the hill. We can sit and look out over the bay, watch the tide roll away. Look at you now, my, how you've grown.
Okay. Well, this is definitely the last song. I get to travel around the world a lot, and I get to go to some very weird and wonderful places. In August in 2005, I was singing at a drug rehab center in Mozambique, a place by the name of Healing Wings, and God was doing some amazing things there. And immediately after that, I had to go to Texas in the United States to go sing in some prisons. And I like to be accountable. I very much believe in the local church, and I like my church to know what I'm doing. And so I stopped off on my way from Mozambique to America to just give them a report back and whatever. So I stood up in church on Sunday morning and I said this to them. I said, just got back from rehab and I'm off to prison. The life of a Christian is not a boring thing. But while I was in Texas in these prisons, a door was opened for me to go sing on death row. And there I got to meet a woman by the name of Frances Newton. She'd been on death row for a very long time. I think it was 19 years or something like that. And on the 14th of September that year, they executed her. I had the enormous privilege of singing this song to her before they put her to death. It's a song called Passing Through. If you could play the last little video clip, please.
My eyes always look up to where my Redeemer comes from. My feet want to run to you, 'cause heaven is where we belong. We're just passing through. God, poetry in motion, made to worship you while we're passing through. When I look where I've come from, it's easy to see where I'm going to. I've learned the hard way, there is no easy way, so I'm gonna fix my eyes on you while I'm passing through. God's poetry in motion, made to worship you while we're passing through. There's no way I can conceive of all the good things you have prepared. Oh God, I'm in awe of you. I live my life happy, scared, while I'm passing through. God's poetry in motion, made to worship you while we're passing through, while we are passing through. while we are passing through.
Thank you. God bless you.